It's the holidays and we are frantic with buying and wrapping and cooking and giving. That impacts both our waistline and our wallets. Well, here to help us avoid financial holiday hangover and get us ready for 2022 is Gretchen Beadle of the Connor Group. Good morning. It's good to see you again.
Good morning.
All right, so what are a few things people should think about as we are in the throes of holiday excess?
Well, we all feel overwhelmed by the pace and demands of the holidays, and the new year is right around the corner. So that's a great time to look over your financial accounts and make any changes that would serve you best. One of the first things that I recommend for those who are still working is to increase your retirement contributions. It's a good idea to consider raising those contribution levels to at least 10% of your income. And this is even more important for our younger workers who are less likely to have pensions and need to rely more on their personal savings to get them through retirement. Next, you should review your investment divisions within your retirement accounts and rebalance those to align with an asset allocation breakdown that's going to work best for where you are in your career and timeline to retirement. Now, speaking with a financial professional can help you develop an allocation that's best suited for you. And finally, take a look at your credit report. You can access this free of charge annually through mycreditreport.com or through some of the many resources with credit cards and banks. But you need to confirm that that information is accurate and check to make sure there's no unusual activity that's popping up on your report.
Gretchen, great pointers. However, you mentioned about checking your credit report. How often should we be checking our 401k savings? Because it's kind of, for me anyway, I do that percentage and then I kind of don't look at it very much after that because it fluctuates, it always changes. So what should we be doing in terms of keeping tabs on it?
Well, there's nothing wrong with the whole set it and forget it mentality, but at a minimum, you should be looking at your 401k balance and allocation at least once a year, because as different areas have more growth than others, you'll get out of alignment with what your asset allocation should be. And honestly, while people may look at it on a more regular basis, once a month to once every quarter is probably best. We don't want you to get so wrapped up in what's happening on a day-to-day basis that you're stressed over what is ultimately a long-term goal. So what's happening today doesn't matter as much as kind of holding to your long-term goals and keeping those in place for where you're going to be in retirement, hopefully many years down the road.
All right. Good thing. Okay. Glad you're here because that is great advice. All right. Now you've given us some additional tips and pointers that we should consider. But now what should we do with that information that you've shared with us?
Well, first of all, especially coming out of the holidays, your first step should be to figure out a plan to pay off your outstanding debts, especially those high interest credit card balances that can creep up on all of us following the holidays. The best way to do that is to develop a spending plan or budget. Not everybody likes that word, but it requires you ultimately to be recording your spending by whatever means works best for you. Now, there's a whole lot of apps out there that you can use, like Mint.com, You Need a Budget, or Wally, or you can just create a spreadsheet that you track periodically by yourself, just like I do. You have to know where your hard-earned dollars are going in order to know what changes you need to make. Then, once you have a good overview of your spending habits, automate your good habits, whether it's adding $100 of your paycheck to a savings account or having your retirement contribution increase by 1 to 2% each year, like we talked about earlier. Once you kind of automated the good habits, focus on slowly eliminating those bad habits, whether it's extra charges for convenience items or those extraneous things that we don't really need if we really think about it. Paying attention to where you're spending your money is the best way to get a handle on your finances. And then once you know where it is, you can redirect your funds to reducing debt, building your emergency savings, and saving for retirement. And those are all resolutions that I know we can all get behind.
You know what? Now is the time to start working towards these pointers that you've given us today. And mainly I'd say now, because it's now when we're like spending money left and right on presents and food, and why
Me
not?
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not analyze what you're spending your money on, and that way come the new year you're in a better position. So I appreciate you to give us these tips now, because they're things we could put into practice before even getting into 2022. So thank you so much. Great advice
My
today.
pleasure. My pleasure.